Sweet. I'll let you know. Should be going live. Be like my first time doing this, so we're all learning. All right, so we're live on Facebook, okay? So why don't we start? Do you want me to just talk about it in general and then you guys can do like the feedback of what's going on? Yeah, go ahead, Gabby. Just jump out and then jump back in because you have the link. All right, guys. So let me get back to my notes. All right, so why are we here to talk? We are here because we wanted to talk about the Commission of Women being led by a trans person that is a biological male. Historically, the commission has always been led by biological women. If you look back, and I posted this on Facebook, but if you look back to 1998, when the Massachusetts Commission on the Status of Women was created, every leader, every chair, and every commissioner has been a biological woman. That has been the precedent for over 2 decades. This is the first time in history a biological man has ever had influence over this commission. It's not normal, it's not historical, and it's not what the commission was built for. This is the first time that a biological man has been placed in a decision-making role over women's issues. Now, the most biggest part to me, this is why I think it bothers a lot of us, is that I believe Eleanor Roosevelt, when she started it, it was like a lot of the women's issues that the Commission of Women handles, it actually has to do a lot with our woman biology. So how can you be in the person like that person in power when you don't even know what it's like to biologically be a woman? That is, I guess, my biggest issue with that. Um, so I have a few, questions. Like if you ever wanted to go, I'm just looking scrolling back at my phone for where. So questions for you guys that could push a discussion, right? Is um what unique biological experiences does a biological male bring to women advocacy? Because you really can't really bring much to if you aren't a biological woman, you can't speak on being a biological woman. And I mean, you guys can counter all that. And then if women can't lead their own movement exclusively, then what does that say about female autonomy? All right. And then should any group be led by people outside that group's biological or lived reality? And if this is truly about equality, or is it political ideology overriding common sense? Like, there's a lot of things that have to do with how can you, like I've said it already, speak on things because the biological reality of that is that crime statistics, medical outcomes, physical advantages in sports, and reproductive issues are all sex based. It's not identity based. So leaders who have never lived in these realities may unintentionally downplay or misunderstand the impact. And women deserve a leader who deeply understands the biological vulnerabilities associated with womanhood. So therefore, it's not that we're like being you know, transphobic or anything like that. It's just that we want people to we want to be represented by someone who's been through our our experiences. That would be the whole reason why you would advocate for the person in the first place. So, does anybody, if anyone else wants to give what they think, um, I mean, because I don't want to talk the whole time. Uh, leaderships in general, that positions that are meant for women are increasingly, by the way, being taken over by biological males. Not that we don't, love you guys, but but this position and spot is specifically meant to speak up for us. When it was started, I have to look back, but I know it was started to basically help with our women's rights. And so, do you think that this would be the start of our women's rights being taken away? Like, what do you guys think? So I'm leaving it open to you guys now. What do you think, Shay? I'm gonna call on you now with their kids. Or Gabby, I don't know. Shay, you want to go? Go ahead, Shay.
I think it has a little less to do with taking away our rights and more along the lines of trying to indoctrinate us in any way that they possibly can. They were pushing the LGBTQ agenda in our school system so hard to the point where parents were literally stripping in front of the school board and going, this is how our kids feel. You feel uncomfortable, right? So now they're moving on to the next best thing. They're going to try to go to the next people who are quote unquote oppressed.
Yeah. What do you think, Gabby? Oh, she's
Um,
around. Oh, she might have gone back in the.
I'm right here. I don't know.
Yeah.
I find it really frustrating. Just like I feel like we just don't already have a lot. So hearing this news really hurt me because like my mother's in the medical field. She's specifically a midwife. And it's really sad because
Yeah.
I was always the friend in high school that girls would come to because they knew I was more aware about some things that you wouldn't know as a teenager or your mom probably wouldn't share with you. So you know, for example, I mean, I go to my pediatrician because it's hard to get a doctor, so I might as well stick with her while I can. But, she's a woman and even she doesn't bother to listen to me. So it's to the point where I have to bring my boyfriend to appointments to like actually have my issues be heard. And it's just like really sad. Like, if I, as a girl or a woman, and for Christ's sakes, have a female doctor who's not even wanting to comply and listen to my issues, and I have to bring a boyfriend, what does that say about having a man who's now a woman be in charge of, the bigger guns in this situation? So I find it a little scary and just frustrating. I'm not saying that I'm transphobic, but it's just really unfair
Yeah.
because they do not understand what we go through. They don't understand the changes we go through puberty and life in general, whether it's physically or mentally or just health wise. So I find it, I don't want to say like a joke, but I just find it like a joke. It's just I'm
Yeah.
shocked that we've gotten to this point in life that
That like
a
men are
man
just
can
taking
do
over
this.
everything. No.
A
But
woman
it's
could
not only
never
men.
do
It's
this,
like,
by the way. Like
no.
a woman who's a man could never ever do this, and I know that for sure. It's just like if a woman decided to become a man, she will never be able to play in a man's league. Why is
Yeah.
that? Because men realize women are weaker. But why does it make sense for a guy who decided to say he's a girl playing women's leagues? Like, it's just like a make it make sense type of
Yeah.
question.
And it's like I don't like what does it say about like standards? Like so like I don't know, like I don't get it. It kind of reminds me of like the Tom McDonald song where he's like it's all a mental game of like if we give women rights but then we make men women so that when we're actually not having equality so that we can just like I don't know if you remember that line like one of the songs. I think it's the song The System. But he like says that and it's like so true, you know? Um, so I have like a point, like I was saying, like it's not about it's like a biological man leading women's rights in Massachusetts is not progress. It's like erasing us. Like because women fought so hard to have their own space, to have their own protections, their own leadership, and now you're gonna put a biological man there to step in and rewrite what womanhood might mean to everyone while pushing policy that benefits the trans movement and not actual women. And that's not representation, it's replacement, and we deserve better. Like that's my point. I made that like speech. Like we need someone who's gonna stand up for us. Like that's why we have people in those places so that we can have like a spokesperson for us to make sure that we have like our rights. And it's not just women, it's like girls and women. And if we're having a biological man in that place, like I don't know. It's just like we're not really at that point we've lost our rights. I mean, I don't know. I'm going kind of far with that, but that's how it feels, you know? Like we're losing our spokesperson for us to be women in the country. I don't know. Go ahead.
I don't know. I feel like I just have so much to say about this because I went to a really like certain demographics high school growing up and just
Yeah.
like lived in a certain town. A few things like I don't know if you guys like are on social media, but there is a very popular man to female transgender influencer. His name is or her name is Dylan Mulvaney, if I'm saying it correctly, and they were in two or three ads that sparked a lot of controversy. One was a Nike sports ad, one was the face of Ulta Beauty for a little bit, and another one was she was actually on Bud Light cans. Funny enough, Bud Light did not make a lot of money during that campaign. If I'm going to be honest, I did some research and
Yeah, they didn't. They bombed. Like they lost. Like as soon as
they
they did that,
lost
they
a
lost so
lot.
much business. Like they were just like it was done. Like
It
they
was
were.
they knew what they were doing, and no one can change my mind on that. But it's just like when I was growing up, I was a pretty big tomboy, and then probably around like sophomore year of high school, I was like, let me try makeup. Like I'm seeing all these girls, let me get into makeup. And it really made me realize like the little things bring girls together, like makeup, like, oh my God, what's that, lip liner you're using? Let me try. Or what's the foundation? And it's just like a way for us to communicate in like our own little world and share makeup and makeup tips. And it's just like, I get it, men can wear makeup, but why is a technically a guy to a female representing, a thing that's known to be for women? It's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
They're like, same with the sports bra. It's like women, have breasts biologically. And it's just like, why does a man who doesn't have breasts, even if, Dylan decided to ever get them, surgically implanted, it doesn't mean anything to her because she never experienced going through puberty, going through the changes, or buying your first bra with your mom, which is really awkward. So, it's almost like we're being or like little things, our little accomplishments in such a hard and frustrating, scary life are being taken away. And I find it really just unfair. It's like, especially like Sarah, I don't know if you can vouch for me on that. You probably can, but we
Oh
go to
yeah.
a very heavily male populated school.
Yeah.
I was scared to go there because I'm a girl in construction. I was like, am I gonna like get respect? Do I get respect? In my opinion, I don't see it, but it's just like we've come such a far way. The fact that I'm a girl in construction and there's typically 3 to 4 girls per class, like my mandatory construction classes. And now it's like being stripped away almost. Like it feels like it sometimes. Like even when I have like guys in my group don't listen to me, it's like you don't respect me because I'm a girl. Is that why? Because like it's most likely that reason. So now that the fact that the thing that brought us together is being taken over, it kind of scares me for the future.
Yeah, like so like I brought this up as far as like I can't even say it. Representation matters, right? So here's how it matters, right? So women's rights advocacy, it has to be led by people who live through the biological experience of womanhood. And part of the reason why is like um lived experiences and influences policy decisions. So like when this person works for like policies going on in the future, right? Lived those policy decisions include ideas such like or topics such as pregnancy, childbirth risk, menstrual health, menopause, female specific cancers, and violence statistics. And replacing female leadership with a biological male undermines the progress that women have fought for this reason. Because how is a man going to say that they know everything or can understand like the menstrual process, or like, and I'm not saying that rape for men, I'm going to go as far as this, but like rape for men versus rape for women is it's completely different. And a guy cannot say that like that they felt that experience, like, you know what I'm saying? Because like I can't get as like raw as that. Like it's completely different for women. Like I don't know how to explain this, but the easiest way to say it is that sex for women is different than sex for men. So you can't come as a biological man and say that you know everything about that and all of our everything that has to do in encompassing that when you haven't been a woman. I don't know. I guess that's kind of harsh to say, but it's the reality, you know. I don't and don't you think that like if having a transgender woman, it leads with other issues like inherent bias that that they'll have towards advancing transgender policies under the women's umbrella, because it diverts the focus away from issues affecting biological women, including like declining maternal health outcomes, gender specific medical research gaps, women's sports fairness. Do you think that like the person who now that they're because they're trans, do you think that they're going to be fair when it comes to women's sports? Like obviously it will look really bad on them as a trans person to not promote trans in sports. So you already know where this is going to go, because now that they have the position, they're going to push that agenda. And especially because of being in Massachusetts, I already know like where that's going to go, you know? And then like safety and privacy in shelters and prisons, like we already have the issues now with them, like the whole bathroom thing, with like can they go in the bathroom if they're by like if they whatever. And it's just going to get worse with someone who's trans, because they're going to start taking away those little things by like little by little, just like everything else in this state. Slowly everything gets chipped away. So you having this happen isn't just going to be like, okay, they're just going to sit in that office and they're going to maybe do a couple things and maybe they won't speak for us entirely. But no, they're going to use that to their advantage. That's why they wanted that position in the first place. They didn't get there just because they're like, oh, yeah, I want that position. I'll help you out. Like, I obviously have an agenda, you know? I don't know. Anybody else want to say anything while we're live? Feel like me and Gabby, we're doing all the speaking. That's fine. Just so you know, everyone, Gabby is a part of our TPUSA chapter. She is our secretary. Woohoo! And she's awesome. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. I mean, if like no one else is gonna speak, I do want to say it. I saw something about like this on social media. It's like feminism is being stripped away, and the more I kept like rereading that, I was like, holy crap! Like feminism is being stripped away because it's just like when you go to these like rallies for transgender people, it's like, oh, like we want equal rights, but then when it's like, well, let's be equal, then let's play the equal game. I don't think a
Yeah.
man should play against a girl. And they're like, oh, that's so not fair of you. That is transphobic. And I'm like, but where's the feminism? Like, for example, there's a girl hockey team. You would never think in a million years it would be a girl hockey team. Or like, me and you, Sarah, we go to a boys' school. You would never think girls would be in engineering. It's more
Yeah.
common for them back then to be in the medical field, like nurses or teachers or just stay-at-home mothers. And it's just like, I don't know. I find it really sad. Now, I can't lie. I saw this a while ago, like many like months ago, but it's just always stuck with me, and I can never like tell if it's true. And I want to find that clip one day online. I need to like do like deep research. But it was
Yeah.
this transgender who was a man to a female, and she was stating how she wants to be the first transgender who has a uterus transplant, can get pregnant and get an abortion, just to prove
Say that
that
they
they
did
have
it. Oh my
they
gosh.
never did it, at least that I know of. But it's just like that's just so heartbreaking to hear. It's just like having a child in general is just such a gift from God and whatever. And I personally, like, yes, I'm in school for construction. My dream is to own a business, but I'm aware of it. Some people that I know and family are aware of it. Like, my dream is to be a mother. My dream is to have kids. And it's just like the fact that someone would want to purposely get a uterus, which women are born with, and we are blessed with it because it's such a powerful, amazing human organ that we have, or organ in general, wants to just like abuse it, wants to have an abortion just to be like, haha, like suck it, I have rights. What rights do you have though? Like, I'm confused. Like, you can get an abortion, cool, but why would you want that? Like, I don't know. I find
It's so weird that it's because
it's
they're just so
weird.
like their thinking is just like so backwards that I don't get it.
It's just hurtful. It kind of just
It's kind
scares
of like
me.
that behavior reminds me of like the people like the when they came out with the Tylenol that causes during pregnancy can cause like autism, like
Yes,
all those
yes.
women that were like chugging down like Tylenol just for the freaking thing, or like the Tide Pods, like they just do it for like a reaction thing, and it's just like, oh my gosh, guys, like come on. Like why? And I feel
Those
like that's
same
like the
women also
same
went to
thing.
the hospital because they took too much Tylenol and now they're sick.
Yeah. So I want to see. I'm trying to think of. I had. Oh, so this actually. So I got this right. So the Presidential Commission of the Status of Women, like the presidential one, it was created by John F. Kennedy, via a executive order on December 14th, 1961, and it was chaired by Eleanor Roosevelt until her death in 1962. Its report documented widespread discrimination against women and recommended major reforms, which is like equal pay, maternity leave, childcare. Like, here's another question, guys, that we got to worry about is if a biological male is in that position and they start to try to change like maternity leave laws, they're going to be like, oh, yeah, the woman only needs like 2 weeks to recover. And they're just going to like, they don't even know. They don't even know what like going through having a baby is like. Like, they're gonna. I mean, I know they might. Who knows? Maybe they'll have people that tell them like doctors or nurses, like you're like you know how your mom's like a midwife. Like there's gonna be people that are gonna be like you have to give them a certain amount of time. Like who's to say that they don't change like the way things are for like the worst as far as like for the future of like us having kids? I don't know. That's like another worry of mine. because I plan to have at least another child, and I don't want to come to find out that I've lost more of being able to have like a maternity leave because this person pushed an agenda about like me not needing it based on what they think or their role. So as an overall, women's rights commissions, they're supposed to focus on issues rooted in biological sex. So workplace protections for like childbirth and maternity, gendered health outcomes, and violence against women in women's sports. Those are like the main things. Um, so the women's sports isn't that important to me, I have to say, just because I'm not in sports and I'm a full-time working crazy woman. So, but everything else really matters to me. But I feel like if I was like an Olympic like person that was in sports and men were starting to take over, I would be bothered by that. So, like I guess like I'm on every topic. I agree that it shouldn't be run by a biological man. Anyhow, I know Reggie, you're just listening, but do you want to say anything as a as a guy? Like, I know that I told a bunch of guys today about this. I was like, "What do you think about this?" And they like shake their heads because they're just like, they don't want women, they don't want a man running women's stuff either. Like they agree, you know. But I don't know if I can get, I know it's hard because they're like, I don't want to speak. um, Shay, do you have anything that you want to add? Like, is there anything like I can't re go back to your comments right now, but I saw a lot of comments. I guess I'll say it on here. If you go and look at Shay's Facebook and you go in her comments, she reposted the post about like the commission being, taken in, and they give like a clip about it and she speaks on it. Um, but there is people in the comments who are trans and they are saying that they don't agree with them putting a biological male in that position. Like they're on our side as well. It's just not the right look. It's not the right person for the job. We can just all agree on that. But I don't know what we do now. Like, how did they get elected there in the first place? That's my question. Like, who voted? Like, do they get voted in or they just get decided? I guess with everything in Boston, Wu just decides it all. But I wonder if Wu just decided to put that person there. I wouldn't be surprised. Or is it more? I think isn't it Maura Healey who decides though? Because I think Maura Healey posted about it, and even Maura Healey got flack from the Republican women's group. I was trying to look up what it was because I saw the post and then it disappeared. Sorry if I'm speaking too fast. But they posted to Maura Healey being upset about this. And Maura Healey came back and made a new post saying that, like, to the Republican women's group, that they're basically, like, speaking hatred, just like us dealing with TPUSA. That, like, because we're so against the idea of a biological, like, male running it because they're trans, that we're being basically, like you said, transphobic and, like, basically that we're being hateful. They were like, it's basically, they're not considering like hate speech, but they're essentially saying it's hateful that we are mad about it. Like, and she's a woman herself. Like, I don't understand it. I don't understand it at all. It just doesn't make, she's like going against her own, like, her own, I don't know what you want to call it, but, but her own, like, what is it called? Like, gender, I guess. So, and then maybe this is like I was thinking about this earlier and I was saying, like, the more and more we chip away at this, I feel like eventually there'll be no genders, which is like kind of weird to say, but I mean, I hope it never gets to that point. But if we're just gonna continually just put whoever with whatever gender for whatever in different positions, like, oh, we, like, and I don't know if there's like a commission of men, but I'm pretty sure that if they put a woman in that position, they would be pissed, you know? So I don't know. I'm just saying. Um, that's my funny points for the moment. But guys, I don't want to be the only one talking, even though we're live. um, but yeah, because it's a male-born individual who is now in a women-only leadership space, which is the exact opposite of what women fought for when the commission was created, point blank. Like, you know, it's crazy. I just can't believe it. It's just like, why? And then I saw the article, I'll bring this up, but I was reposting it, but the state, like the state house was talking about they're going to be working on a bill or something like that, that they are going to be able to excuse rape for the person, like the rapist will be able to excuse rape because of if they were like had past abuse. Like you have to read the bill. Like I was reading, I haven't got to do all my research, but I posted that and it said, that there's going to be reasons where they can excuse rape. And so it's like, wow, like I even showed other men about it, and they were, and they were saying how, you know, that way to like, victimize the victims in that scenario because, you know, I don't know. Like why can't crime just be crime? Like why can't like black and white just be black and white? But it just isn't anymore. And then I don't know. So it's just like like slowly like we're just like losing everything in Massachusetts. I almost want to like say I got to a point tonight where I was like, you know what? I may need to like jump off the Massachusetts boat and just go somewhere else. I'm like, all right, like, can we not like I literally posted on my Facebook. I was like, what is wrong with Massachusetts today? But it's really crazy. I'm trying to find like what the other one was, but yeah. Oh yeah, because I posted the news release. For the former Emmanuel College admissions director admits to soliciting an applicant to the college to engage in commercial sex. Like, and they were caught. They were in a. It was like a human trafficking investigation, and come to find out, like admissions director. So, I mean, Emmanuel College is in the Colleges of the Fenway, by the way. So that was our group of schools. So it's like that's insane. Like, I don't feel safe at school. But it's just like this state is just going downhill right now. It really is. Like I don't like what's gonna happen tomorrow. I'm gonna wake up and it's gonna be like, by the way, women don't exist anymore. No, I'm just kidding. But imagine it gets to that point, that'd be insane. Like, what are we gonna be called at that point if we I don't know.
Aliens.
They're just gonna erase us off like that's what it feels like. It gets that erasing. Like if you can start putting people in our gender, then they don't need us anymore. But then they kind of do. They need us to make babies, but that's what they're trying to. I mean, I'm sure someone's already trying to make like manufacture that as it is. So I don't know. What do you think, Shay? Are you gonna say anything? I gotta end this soon. I have to go back in 5 minutes. Have anything? Anything of wisdom for us today? I don't know.
Let me see how much I can get out before everybody starts screaming over me again.
Yeah.
um, I, I just they have their own committee. Why doesn't
Yeah.
he, she, they, all of them just lead theirs and leave ours alone? And, there's no amount of surgery that a man can go through to make himself look and feel everything that a woman feels because, like, they'll never be able to, of course, like Gabby was saying, experience the joy and the beauty of childbirth and bearing children and creating life like that. And yeah, they may have some sort of quote unquote persecution and whatever for being gay or being trans, but that's very different than what we are born instilling into our children of, don't travel by yourselves, don't go up, be out past dark by yourself, like stay in lit areas, be careful who you're talking to, don't take drinks from strange people. We teach these to our kids because we've been conditioned our whole lives as women to fear, in essence, the probability of something bad happening to us. And now we're putting somebody biologically that is a man that will never be able to experience that type of thing in power over us. And it's just frightening.
Yeah. I agree. I was gonna say exactly. I was gonna as soon as you said that, I was like, yeah, it is because I know a lot of us will say, yeah, I see you, Gabby. I know a lot of us will say is like as much as we like, we love our guy friends, we can't trust them all. And like we need someone who's gonna be there for us in case like something terrible happens. I don't know.
Right. Like we all know that saying, it's not all men, but we all know a woman with a story.
Yeah, exactly. All right, sorry, Gabby, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna agree with you both. It's just like every man, like every woman does have a story no matter what. And it's just like I get it, people in the LGBTQA plus community are known to be targeted, because of their sexuality and what they identify as. But since the start of time, who was it originally targeted toward? Women. So it's just like, I don't know. I definitely agree with it, but I feel like they will never understand what it's truly like to be a woman, to like fear for your life in some cases, be put in really uncomfortable situations. Because it does start from such a young age, in my opinion. Some people are different, but just like you all said, every woman has a story, which is so sad and like horrible to say, but that's just like the reality. And I forgot who said it, but it's just like a man will never understand what it's like to carry a child or to go through certain parts of puberty that girls go through that guys don't. And it just, I don't know, it really just like does upset me because this is also like, I don't want to say like this behavior, but this behavior is also really taught in schools. And I remember like learning about it in middle school, and I feel like they purposely start it at a certain age because you're already so awkward and uncomfortable in your own body and you're questioning yourself because you're like, why do I look like this, or why do I feel like this? Like you're growing, like no crap, like no shit, you're gonna like feel like crap and look like crap half the time. You're in middle school,
Yeah.
you're going through puberty, so it's just like I feel like they also do target this demographic of learning the LGBTQA plus like community and just like the idea of it, so that it's almost like you're saying, like we are racing women because they're trying to be like, oh, it's okay to be so and so, it's okay to be this, it's okay to be that. So it's just like, why can't we just go back to the normal days where kids are learning their ABCs, they're learning their times table, which many kids sadly do not know these days, and also just how to read and write, just
And
read and
bring back
write.
cursive.
Yeah. No,
Honestly,
so
yeah,
here's,
cursive is fair. I'll give you that one too. As much as I hated it, I'll give you that one.
I was just thinking about it as you were talking, is like the experience part is that, like, well, I know that, like, in the trans world, like, they go through a lot being trans. Like, you can't say that it's not easy being trans. Like, I don't want to eliminate that they go through stuff, but that is a choice that they make by becoming trans or being trans. And us women, we don't have a choice in our gender. We are born this way. So we go through everything that we're going through because we have to. So there's a difference between going through everything as a woman because we're already biologically that way versus choosing to be a woman and saying, okay, I have rights too, and I need to be, they try, in that, even in this instance of them getting that position, like, we're not saying that you shouldn't have rights to be a part of something and be in leadership and do anything, but just this one job is for us because we go through things that you will never go through. And we didn't, like, we didn't choose this. We were born this way, you know? I can't go back and be like, hey, mom, can you make me a guy? No. So that's what I had to say on that too. Because I know that some people will say like they didn't, you know, that we don't understand how they feel because they're trans and they're a woman too or whatever. And it's like we didn't choose our gender though. We were born this way, and you chose to go down the path that you chose. Whether it is, with whatever your reasoning is, we still chose. Well, we didn't say we still are a woman. I don't know. So we go through all of the things that we have to go through as a woman, and we don't get a choice between it at all. Like, we don't want guys catcalling us when we're little up to when we're an adult, or being put in situations where, like, for me, being a part of the chapter, at school, I constantly get sexual threats that people are going to rape me at school because I'm the president of the TPUSA at school. And I'll say that there because I've already told a lot of people about it. I told Patrick, who obviously probably won't see this till later, but I had to tell my chapter vice president just in case anything happens to me at school that I tell somebody. Um, but it being said on a, what do you call it, anonymous site on school, the school can't do anything about it because they can't trace it back. So people can just say they want to do stuff to me, and I have to live with that, like, possible fear of going to school and something happening to me. And I can't, I don't get to choose that could happen to me because I'm a woman. Like, But if you go to school and you're trans and you get bullied, like, I'm sorry, but you did put yourself in that position. Whereas I didn't. I just exist and people want to hate me for whatever my political stance is, I guess, and that could still happen to me, you know? It's weird. And we learn a lot of stuff, like you said, Gabby, when we're little. Like so many things that like get like taught to us. I mean, it's media, it's everything. Like we're conditioned to be a certain way. And we have to deal with a lot of things that we have to figure out and experience ourselves. And if you're not a woman or a girl at that time, then you don't know what that's like. You know, it's a lot of mental, like it's in our brain. Like you can change. Okay, here we go. This is my biggest stance on this. You can change your sexual body parts to be a woman, but you will not ever have the the everything that goes on in the brain happen to you as a trans person. I'm sorry, but that is true. You don't have the same like woman's brain that we all do as women. That's a statement. I guess I got there because of you, Gabby. I was like, oh, I'm thinking of this now. But
I definitely agree with everything you're saying. Like, it's just like I feel like it's just like when I was younger, I'd always question, I'm like, how do guys already like know sports teams or sports players? But it's just like that's what they're kind of drawn to, and that's just kind of what we're taught. Like, fathers will take their kids to games and teach them about like certain players or whatever, and like cars or trucks, and girls. You have dolls or the cooking like little like toy sets, like a little toy kitchen or whatever. So it's just like we're just conditioned a certain way, and it's just like a girl wears pink, a boy wears blue, and it's just like you're just never going to experience that from the beginning. Like you'll never
yeah.
experience being 5 years old, wearing a tutu and some cute fake princess heels and running around with your sister or your, friends from class, playing fairies while guys are playing cops and robbers. I'll never experience playing cops and robbers with my guy friends wearing whatever little boys wear, and a guy friend of mine might not experience what I did when I was younger. So I don't know. It's really frustrating. I mean, like one thing, it's not off topic, but like kind of like similar to it. It's just, for example, I saw someone, he was, if I'm not mistaken, he was gay specifically. Like he said that he's like, I'm gay, but what's crazy is that even though people are like, oh, people in the LGBTQ community get hate, but they have an entire month of pride. They have a pride month. Businesses fly their flags, the pride flags around, and no one says a word. But for example, our veterans have one day, not
Oh yeah, that's my
even.
biggest
And it
problem. Every time I see that come up, that drives me nuts. That
it
why do veterans?
frustrates me
It's like
so
why? Yeah,
much.
it's crazy. It's like how come veterans get like only one day, or like we might have a couple holidays where we recognize the veterans, but they get one Veterans Day, but we give people who change their gender or whatever a whole month. It doesn't make any sense.
Like it just, and like half the time companies can't fly the American flag, like hang it like on the windows or whatever, because people are going to be like, oh, they have the American flag, that's so offensive. So it's just like you don't think like your pride flag is offensive? Maybe to some people it is. You know
Yeah.
how many people that are immigrants come to this country and they're like, what is going on? Because in more than half the countries in the world, it's illegal to, be gay or transgender or bisexual. So it's just like, that's just like the one thing that always gets me, the fact that veterans get one day, and, you know, Pride Month is a thing. Like I have a kid in my class. Um, he was in the army. He just got out, and he's in school now. And when he first said it, we all like applauded him and we're like, "Thank you for your service. Like you're a young kid. You're going into a scary thing, and you are nice and safe. You're home, whatever." But it's just like you get one day, dude. Like I feel so bad. Like it's just unfair. Like congratulations, you're gay, but like, did you do something that's life changing for our country? No.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly the point. Yeah. Like, sure, you can have like a day, like we got a Charlie Kirk Day now in remembrance of him. But like, do we need a whole month for them? No, we don't. I know, Jerica, I saw you joined. I have to go back to work in a second, but I will give you. We are live on Facebook, by the way. But feel
Oh
free,
yeah.
if you want to say your stance. We went through a whole thing on it about how. Yeah, I know. I'm sure you can, but I'll go. I'll let you speak. But we talked about how her taking. Oh well, her this biological male person taking over that position, how it basically isn't the right person and fit because a lot of the commission's job is to help with women's rights that have to do with like maternity leave and like childbirth and like women's health and women's sports. And now that this person's in power, like will our rights be stripped away more and more because this person's going to have like a transgender bias towards things that might go through, like say
Mhm.
women's sports, for example, or whatever. But we were going through a whole thing about how they don't know how to like about women because they have never been one. And
Yeah,
there you
so many things.
go.
I'm sure everything was said. Thank you so much for the invite. I was at the gym with a friend. We were talking about this, and as women, as young girls, I guess I was like under pressure to be friends with everybody. But I think at some point it was like I can't be friends with everybody. Like I'm gonna choose who my friends are, and I think that's personal to me, who I allow to be my friend and who I allow myself to be friends to. I think that's like my own personal expression that is for me. And no one should be holding that against me, or it shouldn't be a carrot on a stick or anything. I'm sure it was said already, and like it is concerning. So now we're going to be watching even closer. I would encourage everyone to write your application out, write out like what your concerns are about the status of women, and challenge the perspective, because I can't teach a woman's perspective to my own brothers, never mind to someone who used to be a man.
Yeah.
So I'm like I would encourage everyone here who's concerned to activate like your ability to write your applications, tailor your profiles to what your stances are, what your perspectives are. When I was in sports, when I was in lacrosse, girls got zilch. Girls got no gear. Girls got no coaches. We had to figure out the game for ourselves. We had to carpool. We had to, get our parents to take us seriously as athletes. And then when your body changes, your team um, doesn't want to show up for practice and everything, or there's chicken pox, or somebody gets sick. And it's just so much. Girls in developing our athletic, our warrior spirit. It's not fair that's being compromised and tainted. So I would encourage you guys, if you write, you know, if you do art, I'm with you. I'm standing with you. Thank you. I hope we have another conversation like this.
Yeah.
And
What do you
yeah, I'm
think?
sorry. Like,
What do you think, Jericho? Like, as far as like, how does the person? I didn't look this up, but how did they get that position? Do they just apply, or do they
yes,
get voted in that position?
yep. You apply.
And
You
then
just submit.
who approves it? Like,
Yep.
who decides?
Usually,
Who decides it? Is
usually
it Mayor Wu
Usually,
or more
yeah,
Healy?
the governor. So usually you draft up your cover letter, your curriculum vitae, state like your interests, state your attributes, state um your concerns, and be like strong about like ask somebody to read it over. There was like a nudge to kind of get your local elected officials involved to sign off on it and like petition that
Yeah,
sort of thing, like get signatures. I guess that's an added extra step. It's not supposed to be being a commissioner is not supposed to be a political position, is what I'm saying. So I get the
yeah,
nudge to get the elected official involved, but being a commissioner is supposed to be like, you're staying out of the trench of bias.
yeah. So it's like this person being put in that position is like such the wrong person to put in there because they are going to input their bias in that.
You make
Because
sense to me.
so it's like it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I had known we could vote, I would like if they had let the women like vote on this, we wouldn't have voted for that at all. Like no matter
Yeah.
what. And I feel like I wonder what like the recourse could be if like we can like push them out by saying that that's not the right person for us as women. I don't know. But
So we can chat about that more. I'm gonna look into it. I'm a little out of practice because
yeah.
now that you're leading and I can follow along and I have someone to like be a resource to,
Yeah.
I'll get the process and let you like tell people like what we can do when we are concerned about these commissions and these caucuses and these, because it matters. It's not like
Yeah.
being a judge where like, well, you still have to vote judges in, but it's about learning the right way to do it. So I can certainly do the research, look into it, and get that back to you, and so you can decide like and time it
Yeah,
when
because
it
I
comes
definitely
out.
know that a lot. I'm sure every woman that is watching this on Facebook or whatever is on the same page as us. If you know, even men too. So you know, we will
For
do.
sure.
Yeah, Shay's saying she'll stand outside her market and ask for signatures. Like whatever we can do. Like we need to try to like reverse this or fix this, and we need to have a woman who's gonna stand for us. We can't let the like we can't just take it. We can't just like
Right.
lay there and take it from somebody who has no clue what it's like to be a woman.
Yeah.
And
Something that's getting under my skin is like being a woman is a thing on a resume, right? So that's getting under my skin. Like it's like being a woman is not an attribute. It is a God-given, like our rights are given to us by God, not by the laws that we create for ourselves, right? So
yeah,
XY chromosome, um, XX chromosome, like I was born a woman, and the only other thing that can be born into this world is a man.
exactly.
Why does someone have to look at a resume and say, like, oh, you didn't tell us you were a woman, or you didn't tell us you weren't a woman. We just we just assume. Like I just feel like the person writing their resume should like it should reflect been concerned with women's status on women, been concerned with um all the issues related to women's rights, um, admires everyone from Abigail Adams to Sojourner Truth to women's rights suffragists.
Yeah,
That should be the resume that people are like, okay, this is who we want in the caucus. That's what's getting under my skin is like
yeah, because it's not just
somehow,
yeah.
yeah,
I was saying it's not just like the white woman. Like for me, it's not just like me. Like think about all of there's every culture has stuff within like their like different. I know like if you could take it like a even bigger like further picture of like there's like different women have different things in their culture too, and a
yes,
biological male can't even identify with that or like understand what that is because they just don't know. Like
yeah,
there's so much that goes into it than just being a woman. Like you know what I'm saying too? I don't know if
yes.
I'm yeah.
It's like we're sisters across the world, across the globe. Like if Catherine Leary were here, she would tell you like she's proud of her global citizenry. She can be concerned about what's going on in people in the quality of life of women across the world, from like this side of the Atlantic to the Pacific Ocean. And as women, like that's all we have to rely on when um in Africa, in Liberia, when they needed to stop the war, Muslim and Christian women found a way to pray together and stop the war. It wasn't men, it wasn't confused trans people, it was women who found a way to have spiritual integrity, and it's through women. It can't be mimicked, it can't be mocked, it can't be recreated, but that's what I'm talking about. Like
Yeah.
if it weren't for the authentic designed by God, first laws, like people need a biblical perspective. Like all of these things are important
Yeah.
um, to, to reduce interference. And that's what we're all talking about. I don't think anyone on this call or watching is scared. I think we are just trying to have healthier expectations about
Yeah.
who is representing our concerns and then reduce that interference because people have allowed interference, and some trans guy thinks that he's going to be allowed to interfere because he was able to transition uh, medically with a
Yeah.
little bit of medicine.
Yeah. And I don't know if you were there.
Sorry.
I don't know if yeah, if you were there when I said it, but I'm like, even if you change your biology and your sexual orientation, it doesn't change your brain. As far as like we're still like, you know, like we were born with like us as a woman, we have everything about us is a woman, not just like it's like our sexual organs don't just be the only thing that makes us a woman. Like
Think
there's so
above the
much more than that,
waistline. That's
you know?
exactly it, Sarah. Think above the waistline. People
Yeah.
people need to hear that. People need to hear like think above the waistline. It is our breasts. My breasts don't make me a woman. My womb doesn't make me a woman. It's I was designed by God, right? The
Yeah.
creator. And it's my spiritual integrity. It's the way I was designed. You cannot, there's no medicine in the world that can change that. You're right, Sarah.
Yeah. That was my biggest point earlier. I was like, they don't get, like, men, like, will never get what we, like, I guess this will never get it. They don't get it now as men to like their girlfriend or woman. So, and that's what Gabby was saying earlier. It's just like they don't, we can't, it's hard to explain to like a family member like where our standpoint is and where we're thinking, because they just can't understand a woman's point of view and thinking. But yet you're gonna have a person that's transitioned but still can't, there's no way that they're gonna possibly be able to think the same way as we do.
Right.
They can say that they think can understand us or try
They
to
could
understand us,
empathize.
but they
Oh
won't,
yeah, there are some stellar, empathetic people. Educated empathy, it takes a lot of practice. And,
Yeah.
kudos to the men who are empathetic. But I mean, there are men who are working in the National Association of Mental Health Institute, and they still think that being a mental health advocate means access to um, women intimately. And they don't realize that mental health is supposed to be like the mind wants integrity, and men are responsible somewhat for that integrity. So when a man is an advocate, he's balancing out the work that needs to be done, right? We're all supposed to be doing this work in fear of God. So if you're a mental health advocate and you're a man, you're not supposed to abuse that role. You
Yeah.
you're supposed to be disciplined enough to understand that your advocacy, you're listening to a woman's needs, is helping her mind find the integrity that the mind wants. Every mind wants integrity. Not every woman who needs an advocate is just doing it to have a boyfriend or have an experience. That's not what's going on, and we have to work together. It's going to take men and women to work together. And it's just not fair that someone gets to put on a mask and say that they're going to represent women's concerns. Obviously, that's not what's going to happen.
Yeah. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. I have to go back to work. So I'm gonna end this, but we could definitely come back on and talk another time about the same thing. Or have more discussions about this. And maybe we can come back on and talk about like once we do some research on ways we can like counter this and try to figure out like ways that we can like protect ourselves, since this is already a thing that's in place, but like ways we can work on. And then we can just like kind of inform, if that makes sense. All right, guys. So thank you. I don't know if you guys all want to say bye to each other, but thanks for joining us on this, because we want to make sure our voices are heard on this issue. And I feel like we're all, it's a really important to us. So I wanted to do this.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Yeah, me and Shay, we'll just be outside with like getting signatures. We'll be like, can we change this? No.
Yeah, literally.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye,
you.
guys.
Bye.
Thank you.